morning, it's Saturday, it's 9 o'clock and I've just arrived at Northampton parkrun and I'll be looking at the accessibility around the course, so let's go. You can park in the main car park. It's quite small and only has 2 designated blue badge spaces. I arrived really early, so both were free when I got there, and the car park was pretty empty. But by the time I'd got out the car and headed over to the start, the other accessible space had already been taken and the car park was getting busy. So I'd definitely recommend arriving early here, especially if you need one of the accessible bays. The good news is that the parking is completely free. There is a toilet block on site in the changing rooms building, which is just behind the car park before you reach the start area. However, the parkrun team aren't responsible for opening these, so they're not always guaranteed to be open. If you're coming here, it's best to be prepared that there may not be toilets available. Inside the building, the changing rooms are split male and female, but the female changing rooms didn't have any accessible facilities. Luckily, a member of staff was around and was able to take me to the officials' changing room, which is accessible. The course is 2 anti-clockwise laps around the racecourse park, all on tarmac paths. There were 2 other wheelchair users there on the day, so that was a good sign straight away. The start is about 50 metres from the car park, just to the side of the basketball courts. This is one of those park ones where you queue up back along the route you'll be running, so you have to make your way through the crowd to reach the start. I just positioned myself right at the front, so I didn't have to try and navigate through people. The path here is fairly narrow, so it can be a bit congested at the start, with some runners spilling onto the grass. Throughout the whole course, the park is on your left-hand side, although it was foggy on the day, so I couldn't really see much of it. The tarmac is generally smooth with very little camber, which is great for the wheels. After about 300 metres, you take a left turn, staying on the tarmac. Along this section, there are a few cracks caused by tree roots, but nothing too difficult to get over. Another 300 metres later, you take another left. This is quite a tight turn, so they cone it off to make it easier, but that does mean there's a short muddy grassy section before you're back on the tarmac again. The path then wiggles slightly before straightening out along the edge of the park, right next to the road. Around 300 metres along here, you reach an emergency vehicle entrance, which also has tactile paving. If you're on wheels, just be aware of this, but if you stick to the right, it's easy enough to roll over. Carry straight on and the path dips slightly downhill, which let me pick up a bit of speed. It's still quite narrow though, so be careful when overtaking. After that, the path levels out before a short climb, which isn't steep but did slow me down a little. At the top, watch out for some bollards on the right hand side. After another 120 metres, you take a left, staying on tarmac, and continue for about 300 metres before taking another left again. There's another slight climb before it flattens out. It was along this section that I realised I wasn't getting my usual momentum, and that when I discovered I had a puncture in my front wheel again. I tried to push on to the start line, but it had got too hard, so I pulled over, took the front wheel off, quickly moved the camera, and carried on just on my casters. The tarmac made this doable, but I had to really careful not to hit any cracks because that can easily send you flying. And just to top it off, when I got back to the car later, I also had a flat tyre on the car, so it really was a puncture kind of day. Anyway, back to the course. You eventually come back past the basketball courts to start lap 2. This second lap is slightly shorter. After around 60 metres, you turn left through the middle of the park, with green space on both sides. Follow this for around 300 metres and you're back at the section with the tactile paving and emergency access. This time you turn left here, so again just be mindful of the surface. From there, it's the same route as before. Slightly downhill, short climb, 2 left turns, and then you're heading back towards the finish. To finish, you go past the start line, just like on lap 1. Continuing straight, the finish funnel is off to the right on the grass, which is a bit frustrating after being on tarmac for the whole course. as you have to do about 10 metres on grass before continuing through the funnel and getting your barcode scanned. Considering I had to stop halfway through to deal with a puncture, I really was happy with my time. I finished in 28 minutes and 56 seconds, placing 228 out of 446 parkrunners. We're done here from Northampton parkrun, a nice course, 95% of it on tarmac, which is nice and smooth, and a couple of little hills, but nothing too bad. It has stayed very foggy, so I have been promised it's nice views, but I haven't been able to see those today. I did also get another punch today, shock horror, so that slowed me down as I was fiddling around with the camera, but overall a really good one and thoroughly enjoyed. If you've done this one, let me know your thoughts below and stay tuned next week for the next one.